What's up, guys? Hello. I just want to check my phone. I'm going to make sure we're good. That we are good getting live. Technical difficulties can totally come with stuff like this when I'm like streaming through Zoom to Facebook and all the things. So if you're here and you're live, can you leave a comment because I can't see who is live or if anyone is live here on this just yet. Let's see. What's up, guys? Okay, perfect. There's my voice. I never listen to my voice back because I'm always like, Brittany, your voice is so annoying. Hopefully it's really not, but I guess that's how it is when you're like listening to your own voice. Okay, let me pull it up over here. Sweet. Let's see. Do we have comments yet? I just want to see because I don't want to miss these. Or maybe I'll keep my phone up if I should know this by now, but you know how it goes. We've got a lot of new faces here. Let's see. Lots of new faces here. Okay, I do see 4 people are live, but I'm not seeing comments yet. All right, we're just going to go for it. So we do have a lot of new people here in the inner circle, which I'm really happy you're here. Thank you for coming. Thanks for showing up for sure. Hopefully you guys have been caught up and you've watched the last 2 shows. So today is the 3rd show that we have done. And I hope that you're enjoying it and really liking it because I really am. Like, I'm having so much fun doing these. It's just exciting. It's fun. Like, I'm a teacher at heart. And so I love bringing you guys things that make me that are useful, that are really, really helpful. We've gotten some good feedback on those so far. So will you just put a link, like put a comment if you watched last week's show, because this is part 2 to last week's show. So let me know if so. So let me know. Oh, there we go. Okay, I see a few. Okay, now, so I see comments on my phone, just not here. So if I'm looking down at my phone, that's what I'm doing. Perfect. Hey, Rachel. Hey, Shelly. Huh? Shelly, I'm so excited for you. Shelly just joined the reset. I'm excited about that. It's going to be good. All right. So last week was part 1, and we chatted and talked about things that a lot of the times we think we might need for fat loss, and I went into detail about them. And so it wasn't necessarily that like you don't necessarily need these things, but it's kind of like you really, hey, Leanne, it's kind of like you really need to know some things you just don't need. Other things you really need to understand that everything, remember, is just it's an ecosystem. It all works together. Or maybe it makes more sense for you in your brain to think about it as a puzzle, like one of those puzzle pieces that has like 100 pieces or 1,000 or whatever it is. And all those puzzle pieces really make up you being successful in feeling like, and I'm not talking just about losing 10 pounds or your 30 pounds or whatever it is. I'm going beyond that. And what I'm talking about is living at a place to where you feel like you don't now need to lose weight anymore. And you now just like live a healthy life. Like, this is just your new normal. So another way to say that is you've raised your baseline and you're just lifestyle lean. That's what I call it. And that just means, it doesn't mean that you never get off track. It doesn't mean you never eat fast food again, or you'll never need to lose weight again or anything like that. I go through those cycles. If you're a client of mine, like, we've got the 3 phases. Like, I go through those 3 phases. I'm in my burn phase right now because I just went through last year, our sculpt and our sustain phases. So it's really just learning that there's a time and place for everything. But ultimately what we want to do is get to a place to where we don't feel like we're constantly trying to lose weight or like it's a big weight loss and healthy living is a big mystery. I really want you guys to feel like you get it. You've gotten it. You have it figured out. And once you learn and once you kind of start seeing and you keep showing up for these trainings, then you'll really start to get the sense of seeing how it is an ecosystem. It is a puzzle. And all the little things are just puzzle pieces that we put in to it to make it work as a whole for you. So, you know, maybe in the past you've been someone that has had a certain piece of the puzzle dialed in, but then another piece of the puzzle hasn't quite been dialed in. And so that's kind of your struggle, is like getting all those little pieces working together at the same time. And that can be hard, really hard in this day and age, especially when we are constantly so busy. I was speaking with somebody this morning, we were chatting in Facebook, and she just said, like, I have a gym membership. I know what it means and looks like to eat healthy, but like, I haven't even been able to go. I got this gym membership and they have classes and I want to do them, but I haven't even been able to do it because like my kids are in sports and sports schedules are so crazy and I just don't know how to implement it. And I think that's where so much of the actual gold is the implementation, right? Doing the right things. So you need to make sure that your puzzle pieces are right, like you're doing the right things, but then actually moving them together to make the big picture for you, to see progress, to gain traction, to not feel like you're always like Flintstoning it, I guess it would be, you know, like to where you actually feel like you're gaining momentum in your health, your life, and your body, your physique, like what it is you're trying to accomplish. So we talked a lot about that last week. And I went over also, I've been talking to a lot of you guys about, just what goes on if you feel like you're doing a lot of things and you're trying and you're working, you're spending your time during your week doing the things, but things aren't really budging and they're not moving. We talked a little bit about that last week. And we also talked about calorie deficits, what it looks like when you are eating too little for your body and for your body to actually, and your metabolism to allow you to lose weight. So we talked about all of those things. So it was a really, really good show last week. So if you haven't listened to it, make sure you do. Just carve out some time whenever you're doing something, going on a walk, whatever it is, driving in the car, and listen to it. So today is part 2. Let's see. Okay, so today's part 2. Let me pull up my notes. For everything. If you did watch part 1, will you just leave that in the chat here? And then will you let me know if there was anything that is sticking out to you that was a takeaway for you, maybe something that you have implemented, or from the call before for the first show, from the first 2 shows, has there been anything that you have thought about since that you feel like is kind of like sticking out in your brain that you are working on and trying to implement? I talked last week about being that 1%, because facts, studies show that like a lot of people, it's very easy to become like consumers in any capacity in any industry. Like I can easily become a consumer and not create my own content because I'm so busy consuming, right? I'm so busy learning. It can be the same for us whenever we are out looking for weight loss. We can and looking how to do it, like finding the tactics. What is it? What do I need to do? What am I doing wrong? What do I need to start doing? And we forget to implement. So studies show that only about 1% of people that actually watch shows, watch things like this, read, actually take it and implement it. And I talked about really wanting you guys to do that. I show up today. I show up on these calls every week, like you have already paid me and hired me to coach you and to show you what to do and to teach you. And so I really do hope that you are implementing these things as we go, that you're thinking about some of the just the things that I've been talking about and saying, and that you're taking them and using them. So let's see what we're saying. Setting those, why can't I reach my goals, and finding a solution to counter those. Okay, hi Varun. Okay, Shelly, there we go. Hey, Nicole. Okay, so good. We've got a good amount watching. Okay, good. Anybody else? Anything that you found has been a takeaway so far? While I'm waiting on that, always want to mention that I would love you to share this. You can take a little boomerang of me talking. You can do a screenshot, whatever you want to do. Would love if you would post this on your own social media if you feel like it's helpful for you. I'm not just like, oh, hey, like only if you feel like, okay, this has been good stuff and it's helpful. So that we can share and spread the word. The next thing that I wanted to talk about with an announcement that we have before we get in is we do have a new challenge that's going on. It's going to be starting next week. We're in open enrollment for it. It's a 4-week challenge. I have been talking about that on my Instagram and stories. So if you want some information about that, you can just message the team. They are here. Katie is here, and we can get you hooked up there. Okay. Let's see. All right. So, like we talked about last week, 3 months to summer, 3 months to summer, crazy. Like, I can't believe Q1 is almost over. Like, it's basically over. It's over. Q1 of the year is over. It just goes by so fast, and it's just going to get faster because we just keep filling our schedules up because that's today's time. That's today's age, right? But I want us to think about, I talked about this last week, but from now until summer, there's only about 12 weeks. It might be a little bit less now, but roughly give or take about 12 weeks. But in those 12 weeks, there are several holidays. There are several things. This is just, big holidays. Now I want you to think about anything that's going on in your life also. That's not like a holiday, but maybe it's a birthday. Maybe it's going out of town for this or that. I was talking to a sweet couple this morning. They joined in on our one-on-one program as a couple. It's going to be really good, but they were talking about next week. They're traveling and they're going to see their daughters in college. And then they're going to be going on vacation here and there. And they were like, well, when should we start? No, I don't want to wait and start until after April. We've got to get it going because they want to get their health like in check. They are super, super determined. And so they were like, nope, you know what? We're just going to do it. And what I told them was like, look, like, honestly, everybody has all of these things. Like, we've got these holidays, plus we have like all the other things that we're doing in our day and life and our schedules. And like, those things aren't going to stop happening. And we don't want them to stop happening. I mean, that is life. Like, hello, that is life. And we just have to learn to adjust. We just have to learn to adapt to them. That's why it's so important to really learn about nutrition, learn about healthy living, because healthy living and nutrition and all of those things happen while life is happening. It's in the middle of life happening. Life doesn't get put on hold. We can't hit a pause button and everything around us just pause, right? And freeze so that we can go and catch up. We can't do that. We have to learn to roll with the punches. So we've got all these things coming up. And so if we don't start on this now and really get into the mindset this spring of, okay, now is the time I have to start getting ready for summer. I have to do these things. If I'm saying the same thing that I was saying last spring about wanting to lose that same weight, what am I doing? Like, it's time to do what I say I'm going to do, because if I don't get the traction now, when Easter comes, when Cinco de Mayo comes, when Mother's Day, Memorial Day, Father's Day, Labor Day, on top of birthdays, on top of little trips, like, we're never going to gain traction. Okay. And so that's the big thing, is we want to gain traction. You have to start now so that you can do that and be ahead of the curve and ahead of the game. All right. So make sure, go back and watch part 1, because it's super important to go with part 2 for today. So today we're going to kind of talk a little bit more, but it's going to be more on the workout side of things a little bit. And so the first thing we're going to talk about is HIIT workouts. Okay. High intensity interval training workouts. All right. If you've been around for a while, put it in the chat here, drop it. What have you heard about high intensity workouts? What are your thoughts on them? How do you feel about them with fat loss? Like, give me something in the chat here. High intensity interval training. What do we know about it? What do we think about it? Because this is something that is super popular. This is something that a lot of people, you know, when you think of maybe like your cycle bars, like your spin classes or CrossFit or Orange Theory, high intensity interval training. What do we have to say about it? Y'all are quiet today. Y'all are quiet. I want you to interact. I have an itch. Okay, so HIIT workouts do have their time and place. I talk quite a bit when I share my story with being diagnosed with Hashimoto's, with MTHFR after having Jacob in my last pregnancy there. All of the things that shifted and changed in my life. Okay, started hot blast cycling and I love it, but I don't really know if it's working yet. Okay, good, Shelly, thank you. So I did see you post about that actually, I think yesterday. So I used to do nothing but like, it was CrossFit. I did CrossFit 7 days a week. Like sometimes I would do 2 WODs a day. It was a lot. It was super taxing, on me and my body. And, around that time was when my kids do them, but they say they're definitely That's funny, Nicole. And so this is a time whenever, like I said, like I had been pregnant, had just had Jake, blah, blah, blah. Well, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's. And when you have an autoimmune disorder or disease, you really need to, it was one of the things that they told me. And it was something that I definitely experienced, was that whenever I was doing a lot of high intensity work, like my nervous system was just like all the time. My stress was just like all the time. Okay. And so high intensity workouts can raise your cortisol levels, which is our stress hormone. And so that is, it's one of the several hormones that are in our body that our body produces to handle stress. And so whenever we're doing HIIT workouts, our brain is sensing that stress, and then it just kind of cascades a release of hormones, including cortisol in our body. And so cortisol is activating the sympathetic nervous system, and it's really putting us in that fight or flight state. So my one-on-one Reset Girls, you have a training on this where we really talk about stress, and where we really talk about it being a really important piece in our puzzle. In our ecosystem. Not saying that we can never do HIIT workouts, not saying that, you know, we're not supposed to do anything like that at all ever, but there is a time and a place for it. And so it depends on who you are. It depends on your levels of stress. It depends on, you know, do you have autoimmune issues like me? Do you have different things going on? Is that the best modality of workouts for you? And those are just things to look at whenever you're looking at high intensity workouts. You do not have to do high intensity workouts to lose weight at all. It is not the end all be all at all. And honestly, it could work against you, and you could actually be creating the perfect storm if you are, like I said, highly stressed, not sleeping enough. You don't have good enough recovery, like your body's just not recovered. Maybe if you have some hormonal things, or like I said, autoimmune things. And if you're not eating enough food, that's really a big one. And so I talked about, or this, I'm going to jump down. Let me get my notes. No, I'm not going to jump down yet. So that can be a big one if you are an undereater also, because what tends to happen, like in our minds and in our brains, like we just, when the light switches for us and we're like, okay, 3 months till summer. Oh my gosh. All right. I got to get this off. I got to get this fluff off. It's time, blah, blah, blah. Let me do everything I need to do right now. And we go drastic, like quickly. There's nothing wrong with making changes at all. Nothing wrong with that. But a lot of the times we just halt it all. We pull all the levers at once, and we pull them to a very dramatic way to where it turns into being something that we might be able to keep up with for a little bit, but that doesn't actually help us in the long run. It's not sustainable. Okay. And so HIIT workouts have their time and place for sure. Like, okay, Shelly, I'm using you because you said, good. Is it Jacqueline? Is it Jacqueline? I think that's how I say your name. You joined the 4-week shred. Yeah, I'm so glad. You just activated your Facebook. That's funny. I like it. I like that picture. Let's see. When I do HIIT, days I don't like working out that hard. Yeah. Yeah. Some days I do feel like a good HIIT workout, right? And then other days I'm like, oh, girl, no, I just want to like, let's just work, do the weights, and we'll get some walking in. Totally. That's funny. So like, let me go back up. Oh, hey, Fallon. Let me go back up to Shelly. So she was saying that she did hot live cycling, and I love it. That's good. So what we want to do is, and this is something we really focus on with our one-on-one program, because we can kind of control, we know what our clients are doing for their workouts. And so Shelly, you have reset, you have workouts. So what I would do is just, you can definitely still do your cycling in there, but make sure that you are also doing these other forms of workouts that we have for you, like the strength training. Strength training is going to be super, super important for lowering that body fat that you want, and then increasing and building your lean muscle. That is what is going to give you the lean look that you want, and the tone look that that we're going after. Not just you, everybody wants, right? We all want that tone look. Well, that's what we want to do. And you really have to make sure you have some good strength training in there. So you've got that in reset. So just make sure that you do that for sure. And then walking kind of combats that cortisol that we were talking about. High cortisol levels are linked to a big waistline. Okay, because it's the stress hormone. We hold our stress in our gut. We end up packing on that belly fat in our gut right there. And so what we want to do is kind of like a scale, like weigh it out, and we can combat that with other activities that lower our stress. Now, the problem comes, like me, this was my problem. I didn't really pay much attention to that because I just wanted the fast and furious. That was me. Like I was a hardcore, cutting the carbs, cutting this, like hardcore workouts, PRing, competitions, like all of those things. I heard about yoga. I heard about the walking. I wasn't going to do it unless I was pounding the pavement and full on sprinting, because I just felt like I wasn't working hard enough, right? Because I just didn't understand. I just didn't really get that, like, yes, there's two sides to it. You do have to push yourself. You also have to take care of yourself and that parasympathetic nervous system, and you have to balance it out. Or you do reach a point to where you will crash and burn. That's where I was. That's when I had to learn, and I had to take a step back for a really long time, and I had to change things. So just kind of pay attention to that. So HIIT workouts, it is not the end all be all. And just because you do HIIT workouts does not guarantee that you will lose weight, because once again, it's a puzzle piece. So you want to look at those things. What I would suggest is put in, if you can get a daily walk in, yes, I said walk, put a daily walk in for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is, go do it, because that is lowering your cortisol levels. It is like soothing your parasympathetic nervous system. And what that is, and what I think of it, and I like to explain it like this because it makes sense in my brain, is think of like a cat whenever it gets like spooked. Like, what does it do? It like it stands up and its hairs like go crazy, right? And so that's what happens to us whenever we're like throwing all of these hardcore things at ourselves. We're cutting all the carbs. We're slashing our calories. We're going from eating a whole lot to eating a whole little. We're doing tons of like high intensity work. We are, doing tons of Orange Theory and the heat and stuff like that. Like, we're taxing our body. As we do that, our cortisol levels are spiking and rising. And if we're not sleeping enough, and we're always going, and we're not taking care of ourselves and swaying that and like actually balancing things out, then we'll end up in a place to where we just feel like we're just gaining more weight, and we will just be gaining more weight because we're stressed. We have high cortisol. Our belly is going to start packing on. Okay, so it's really, really important. So I'm going to stop for a minute and let's see. Let me catch up on the comments here for a few minutes. Shelly, yes, lean. Yeah. You'll get there. You will get there. It just takes that time and the consistency of doing that strength training and like balancing those things out. Plus, of course, your food. Sarah. Leanne, I noticed such a huge difference on so many levels when I get my daily walks in. It does so much good. 100%. Me too. Oh my gosh, me too. Like such a big difference. It just makes me happier. It makes me so much less stress. It's something about getting up and getting that like pent up like energy, like that anxiety feeling. If I'm stressed out, like I can walk it out. Like I literally just am able to walk it out. And it's like, I get my most creative, my best ideas, like for you guys, for my shows, for content, for things like that, when I'm just out walking in nature. It just does so much for like our soul. I really feel like it. Perfect. I know, Shelly, Sarah. Okay, so HIIT workouts. Anything else you guys want to touch on before I move on from HIIT workouts here? Now, I'll just wait a minute and see. Like I said, they're not the devil. They're not the worst thing ever at all. You just have to know how to use them. They're a tool. They're just a tool, but they're not going to be your end all be all for it. Because you can totally do HIIT workouts. You can do CrossFit. You can do CrossFit every single day of the week. But if you eat like crap, you don't understand how fat loss really works, you're not prioritizing other things and like healthy living in your life, you can do it and honestly never lose a pound or gain weight. I've seen it with my own eyes for years. So just because you work hard doesn't give you a pass. Like your body it's not like, okay, body, here we go. I'm exchanging this for a CrossFit hour, for a CrossFit session or an Orange Theory session or whatever. I'm good. And I think that's a lot of people don't really realize how much it really does. I mean, it takes a lifestyle change. It takes a mindset shift in a lot of areas to get from the place of coming from being like a dieter, always losing the weight, trying to figure it out and maybe figuring it out for years and years and years, to the place where you're like, this is just how I live. It's not a mystery anymore. Like there's a lot of growth that goes on in the gap from here to here. And you just have to set out to do it and give yourself the time to do it. Walk it off didn't come from nowhere. That's true. Walk it off. You're right. I didn't even think about that. Great info. Good. The 0 to 100. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm not like that anymore, but I used to be bad. It served me well in a lot of areas, but then a lot it didn't. So, okay, that concludes our HIIT workouts talk. Now let's move on. Fat burners. Okay, so fat burners is a thing that I think is just, it's one of those things that like people use. I mean, it just, what does it sound like? It sounds like a shortcut, right? I mean, it sounds like an exchange, just like I just said about CrossFit, like an exchange. Okay, let me take a fat burner. I'm good, right? So you might be somebody, you can put in the chat if you want to, if you've, done that before, taken fat burners and this and that. Yes, they can be definitely dangerous for sure. And it's almost like worrying about the sprinkles on the top of a cake when you don't even have the cake made, right? Like when you don't even have the ingredients for the cake yet. You still have to go to the store and get the ingredients for the cake. You have to have a recipe for the cake. You have to mix the cake. You have to bake the cake, right? You have to have the icing. Like we don't need to worry necessarily at the end. There's nothing to put the sprinkles on, right? At the beginning, you have to go in order. There's steps to take. So I think that's a good way of putting this, like fat burners, but it also goes with different things and techniques that I think a lot of people can kind of get lost in the weeds on when it comes to fat loss. And we try to tackle those things first. We like major on the minors of things. Like what we need to do is, okay, I'm going to try something. I'm going to try this whiteboard. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if y'all can see this. Okay, I think you can see it. Perfect, but I don't have it. So let's see here. Let's see how my drawing goes. So here's my pyramid. So a lot of the times, got it. Okay. And you see my drawing. Yes, I see it. Okay, perfect. So a lot of the times what we do is I have a pen. I just need to find it. And then I'm a much better drawer than this. Okay, a lot of the times, let's say this is supplements up here. Oh no, there's supplements here. This down here is going to be our calories, okay? This is our workouts. Okay. This is going to be calories, workouts. I don't know what I want this to be yet. I had a picture, but I don't have it anymore. So let's talk about this. Supplements and like things like fat burners, things like that stuff is going to come up here. Okay, like at the very top. But what's going to give the most bang for your buck, what's actually going to make the most progress for you is going to be this down here, these things, the base of the pyramid. What you want to do is you want to get the base of the pyramid like in check, because if this isn't in check and you're only focusing on things up here like this, then you are going to have a faulty foundation. Okay, and I think that's what so often we miss quite a bit of the time is we want to jump to up here. And we want immediate and quick progress and results. And I get that. I understand that. I do too. Like I want to know what I'm doing is working, but I also need to make sure that this part down here, my base of everything I'm doing is steady and it's strong and it's not faulty, right? I want to build on solid ground. The way I build on solid ground is I make sure that I pay attention to my ecosystem. I make sure that I pay attention to things like sleep. I'm looking at my stress levels. I'm looking at the recovery and the rest time that I have when I'm referring to my workouts. Okay. I'm looking at my overall calories. I want to know, am I eating within a healthy range of calories? Am I eating too little or too much? Like, where am I at with things? Those are the things that I need to really pay attention to. I need to look at my activity. Like not just in my workouts, but like my daily activity, my steps. What are my steps? I mean, do I only have like 2,000 steps in my day? What do I need to be? How can I adjust that? Like, what is my daily activity level? Okay. So that's going to be really good. That's going to be our baseline. Those are the things that we really need to focus on. Okay. Then we need to move up and we need to look here. Kind of going off topic, but this is really good. So we need to come here and we need to take a look at our routine. Okay. Now down here, I'm going to also come back and I'm going to add in my consistency. Like, can I be consistent? Can I consistently do the things without feeling like I have to go from 0 to 100 all the time? Working on that consistency. If I can actually find and learn that like a gray area is okay whenever I'm talking about my health, then I will find that I'm going to set myself up for longevity. That's what we want. So consistency is really, really important. Now, our workout routine, you need to once again work on consistency in that workout routine. It doesn't mean that you have to work out 6 days a week. We have clients that, because we ask them, hey, you know, let's look at realistically, where are you at? What can you do? Can you work out 5 days a week? Can you, what do you want to do? We have some clients that only can work out 2 days a week. Okay, that's fine. What we're going to do is pull the levers down here and with our food, and we are going to make sure that that puzzle piece all works together for them with that. Okay, so we need to look at that consistency. You know, can we work out 3 to 5 days a week? I've found that that is a, you know, that's a good range of being able to work out. And when I say work out, I don't mean that you have to work out for 2 hours a day, but we need something that's going to give us traction, right? But that consistency is going to give us traction. So really focus on that. Strength training. You need a good strength training program. Don't only focus on that cardio. Make sure that you don't, because all that's doing, it's not building any of that muscle. And we know that the muscle is what is giving us the toned look. So we really need to pay attention to that as well. Okay. Let's see. So we've got that. We've got our workout routine. We've got our supplements and we've got our little tricks. So these things can include intermittent fasting. We talked about that last week. Carb cycling. We're on the subject of fat burners, which I never recommend. Like, I don't take fat burners. My clients don't take fat burners. No, but those are just things that I'm showing you. Like, those are at the very top. Like, they don't take up much room. They don't matter as much. Okay. If we don't get our baseline fixed here, and we're not strong in these things, and we don't develop consistency in these things, then these things up here just don't, they don't matter as much. And a lot of the times we want to go straight to things up here because they seem like they're the quick fixes, because they're the easier things to fix. Popping a fat burner, using a waist trainer, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Like, those are things that seem so much easier to do than looking at the consistency down here, looking at the baseline of things. Does that make sense? Oh, you can't see what I'm typing? Maybe I should just make it a little bigger. This isn't very pretty, y'all, but hopefully the visual actually helps out. Okay. So just pay attention. I'll get better at doing this little whiteboard. This is literally the first time I've done it, so please don't judge me. Okay, that should be gone now. Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. When I'm typing it, I know, because I was on a training and that's what was happening too. So I think that's just like a thing with Zoom. I don't know. So anyways, hopefully that's helpful right there, is just seeing like there's a pyramid, and we really need to focus on getting this baseline, because the people that are our lifestyle lean people, the people that get it, that you see get it, that are no longer struggling with these things, they have their baseline solid. They've got that under control. But if you are someone, maybe it's you, maybe it's someone else, like that, you know, they're a dieter, they're always trying to find the diet. All they're doing is going straight to the top of the pyramid. They're not ever focusing on underneath, on that baseline of the pyramid. Okay. So we really want to focus in on those things. I talked about waist trainers for a minute. Those are just those gimmicks, you know, like the skinny teas, the detox teas, the this, the that. You know, we talked about like lemon water last week. Yeah, those have health benefits. Like, that stuff can help you for sure, but it's not going to be the thing that's going to make you lose weight. It just won't. Like, the shortcuts won't ever do it. They're at the very, very top of the pyramid. And then the last thing I want to talk about today is that over exercising. I chatted about it a little bit, but you know, you don't have to work out 6 or 7 days a week to see progress. You don't, because remember, that is just one tiny little puzzle piece in the big scheme of things. It's very important. It's more towards the bottom of our pyramid. It's more towards the baseline because it matters quite a bit for health, for cardiovascular reasons, to build that muscle. You need that, but you don't have to work out, like I said, 6 days a week and do all of the HIIT training and kill yourself or feel like you need to do an hour of cardio a day. You don't have to do those things. Because when you are understanding that it's an ecosystem and all your eggs are not in one basket, it really changes everything. So I'm hoping that today's training is kind of wrapping all of that up and showing you even more that it's not that some of these things are just dumb and we don't need to do them. Like waist trainers, they're just dumb. Like, let's not waste our time. But other things, yeah, it's not that they're terrible, but on their own, they're not gonna give us what it is we're looking for and what we're wanting. And so really looking at where are you at in this pyramid? How does your foundation look? And what can you do this week to start implementing these things to get a stronger baseline and a stronger foundation? The foundation is what will save you. And then you can build on that. So like when we have one-on-one clients or long-term clients, like when they go into VIP and different things like that, we're getting on up there in that pyramid, and we can use different techniques. We can use some carb cycling. Okay. We can use some refeeds. We can do those things. And we can use some supplementary workouts and stuff like that, where we start, booty programs and different things like that, and cinching our core and our waist. But that's because our girls have gotten the baseline down. So think of that. You want to build off of those things. And that's where our mindset starts turning into being lifestyle lean and really learning these things long term. And maybe it takes a slower pace at the beginning. Maybe you don't feel like you're going 0 to 100 at the beginning. But remember, that's where I come from. Like, I used to be like that. And that's when it just all kind of went up in flames and crashed and burned. And it was a whole bad thing. And I have had to learn to be okay in that gray area, because the gray area is actually just living life, like not being perfect all the time, but understanding that all my eggs are not in one basket. They're in several other places also, because I prioritize my sleep. I take care of my stress. I take care of my gut, so my bloating isn't out of control, right? I take care of my mental health. I take care of that anxiety. I walk, I implement other things so that it's equal playing fields and they're all working together. So I hope that this series has been helpful last week and this week to just kind of pull the pieces together a little bit. And in our programs, we really work on that too. So like Shelly, I'm just keep using you as an example because I know you're on here and I know you joined and that reset. And those are things that we talk about in the reset program. And it just can help you to like see, okay, this, and let's just pull these things together and kind of lift the timeline off of yourself, to say, I have to get this all right now. Like, I have to have progress right now. We don't have to, we will see progress quickly. We will see those things quickly, because if as we focus on the calories and the food and different things like that we give you in our programs, you will be on the right track with what you need to do. So you will see immediate results, but you are also building your foundation out for years to come. And that's what's so important, is that longevity. So give yourself that time and that grace to kind of get those things moving together and get your moving parts moving for you. And it will help you so immensely. 6 months from now, a year from now, that's what's going to count for you, to really start understanding and learning those things and just putting them together. So one last thing before we go that I wanted to share. I did mention we have the 4-week challenge that's about to start. That's on Monday. So if you want in on that, get in on it quickly so that we can do what we need to do for you. Last thing I want to share is we do have a bowl meal guide. This is something that has really been super helpful for me. I created this, and it has been a game changer. This is the way that I think about my food. This is the way that I put my bowl meals together. If you follow me on Instagram, you kind of see the way I do things. If you're somebody that you're feeling like, okay, I don't really know where to start, this is a good little packet and a little training that you can totally have. If you want it, just, you can put right here that you want it. And my team can get it to you for sure. But what I've done is really kind of shown how we can put this all together, I've created just kind of a little checklist and a system for us, is looking at our foods as protein, vegetables, carbs, fats. I've broken it up that way here. And I've got a little list of each of these for you that you can choose from. And then I have my finishers, which is like my little toppings or my fats. And so what we do is we come in and you can choose a protein source, and then you can choose vegetables to go in your bowl, and then you can choose one carb from a carb option, and then some fats, and then finishers on top of that. And so what this does is just gives you a really good outline and a way that you can kind of start setting up the way that you're making your meals and start incorporating more whole foods into your day. And taking out some of the packaged processed things. And in the process of doing that, you're going to start feeling a lot better. You're going to alleviate your gut like bloating and feeling kind of like and lethargic, because you're going to be putting some good foods in there. So if you don't have that and you want it, I'm happy to send it over to you. It's been really helpful. It's helpful for me. I know it's been helpful for other people that we've sent it to. So I think that's it. If you need anything and you need any help with anything, you have questions, feel free to message me on Facebook, Instagram, or the team here, and we're more than happy to help you. I will be back next week. Next week, we'll be back on Thursdays. We'll be on our Thursday schedule. I just have to go to Canton tomorrow, and I have to shop for my house. Highly important. So I had to move this around. Yes, I have to, I got to decorate. It's just what I got to do. So that's where I'll be tomorrow. So thank you for moving it for me so that I can go shop. So that's what I'm going to be doing. But anything you need, guys, let me know. I hope this has been helpful and enjoyable. And I will see you later. Bye.